If you're still not sure what to do about guns, let me explain it to you using this awful cat. Now
Alright, let's do it.
Now, before we start, we can all agree that banning cats won't get rid of all cats.
Obviously not. The only way you could get rid of all cats is through mass extinction. Oh yeah, I forgot. Cats are analogous to guns. Even though cats are sentient beings that live and die on their own, and guns are inanimate objects which are used by humans. I don't think any other animal could use a gun. I've never heard of a hedgehog, you know, doing a drive-by, so... Unless we're talking about that awful shadow game. Anyway, continue.
And that a majority of people that do own cats are good people. Not every cat is an awful cat.
Now, your analogy from the offset is incredibly stupid. And I don't think that you're a stupid person. I just don't think that you critically thought about the analogy you were using here. There is no way I can let go of the fact that a gun and a cat are not synonymous in any scenario or in any situation. They're not even synonymous metaphorically. You're not even comparing two inanimate objects to each other. You're not comparing two different living organisms that are somewhat similar to another. You're comparing two separate things. That's like me saying, hey, we need to deal with this lamppost on the side of the street. Let me explain how we deal with the lamppost. With this duck.
And I happen to love a cute, cuddly cat. Ah, look at you. So cute. Such a cute little kitty. Stupid, awful cat! That was an awful cat. And that is what we're here to talk about. Let's say you're at the movies or church or school when out of nowhere a cat pops up and claws you in the face. Suddenly, you might want to do something about this awful cat.
Luckily, we have this institution. Or maybe we only have this institution, I guess, in America. I don't know if other places have this thing that we like to call animal control. See, whenever there is a wild animal or a creature that needs to be removed from a given population, you call animal control, and they usually send specialists in order to remove the creature. I remember a couple of years ago, there was an alligator in the lake of my old neighborhood, and they called animal control to get the little gator out. So, I guess in this situation, animal control would be the police, if we're going to use your analogy to its, playing out to its full conclusion. Which means that I guess the police could go in and remove bad guns from people. I mean, you don't bring up animal control at any point, but shoot, I know I am, so continue.
Now, I live on a street that had one awful stray cat. And when no one did anything about it, one cat turned into dozens, and they were all clawing people in the face.
No, that is not how that works. One, guns are manufactured by human beings. They don't multiply by just sitting on a desk. Okay, well, first of all, one cat does not multiply anyway. It takes two cats, so I'm going to be pedantic there. But your analogy, my friend, is just not making any sort of sense. Guns do not just randomly multiply. In fact, in order to even purchase a gun from the offset, I think you have to be an adult. I don't really think anyone under the age of 18 can purchase a gun. If they can, correct me. But even then, you always have to pass a background check whenever you do purchase a gun. And I don't know, I mean, there's not really much you can do, excuse me, with this law, considering the fact that if someone wants to shoot a bunch of kids, because this is what the context of the video is, if someone wanted to go shoot anybody, and this would be the first crime that they've ever committed in their entire lives, a background check would not prevent that, it would not check them out. But I still think that it's better to have it than to not have it, if I'm going to be totally honest with you. I'm just saying that in order for multiple guns to be given out to a population, there are a lot of steps that have to be taken, and that is purchasing the gun and then making sure that you're even, fit to have the gun, with the background check. There are some states, or at least some cities, I think, that make you wait a period of time before you can go back and purchase a gun after you initially went to the store. I could be wrong there, but I don't think I am. The point is, there's a little bit of a process here than just, guns metaphysically just appear from the ether around every neighborhood. You know what I mean? And even then, cats don't do that. Cats have to mate, so.
And it's all because my neighbor, the crazy cat lady, Mrs. Nra,
Oh, that's creative.
was leaving out giant piles of treats for cats.
Now, this is dumb. The National Rifle Association, I don't even think encourage people to just go out and buy guns because they just think that guns or rifles are cool and everything. I'm pretty sure at the very least they try to get competent people to have guns, or good people, or honorable people to have guns, not just random jackasses who just walk down the street. I don't think the National Rifle Association wants that caliber of people to have them. But here I am, just, you know, being gracious to an organization I don't know much about, instead of assuming the absolute worst of these people. I'm just saying.
So you explained to your neighbor that maybe it would be okay to have a couple rules for these cats.
But wait a minute. Aren't there already rules for pet owners anyway? Now, I know you're talking about cats and not dogs, but I own a dog, so I know the rules of having a dog a little more than I know the rules of having a cat. And I know rule number one, if you take a dog outside, you're not supposed to have the dog up on a leash. Even if it's a really good dog, because dogs are instinctual and every time they get a stimulus, they'll just fly off the handle and go off. Even if you have a really obedient dog that walks next to you and will come back to you, it's better safe than sorry. And this is why there is the law that you should always have a leash on the dog when you take them outside, even if they're really good and obedient. There's also another rule. If a dog poops in someone's lawn, you're not supposed to leave it there. You're supposed to pick it up. Not with your bare hands now. For that one person who's going to think that. Usually you're supposed to have like a poopy bag, and you take the poop and you put it in the bag and then you discard it wherever, in the trash can, whatever. The point is, I think also you also have to make sure your dog is shot with the rabies vaccination too. So there are rules to owning a dog. I would imagine there are similar rules to owning a cat. I don't know. I mean, cats usually just kind of wander off and do their own thing a lot of the time. So maybe there are rules and people just don't follow them. But the point is, when it comes to pet ownership, there are rules. And obviously, even my friend, to your analogy, which is guns, there are laws and rules and regulations to owning guns and firearms. They already exist. If you think that there should be more, then say that. But do not pretend that we live in a lawless society where there are no rules or regulations for which people use these weapons, okay? Because it's just bullcrap.
Now you would hope that a good neighbor would understand. But she freaks out and yells at you that you're trying to ban all cats. And you're just like, hey, I just don't want to get clawed in the face. I'm not banning anything.
Well, then why don't you just avoid the cat? I mean, if you see the cat, why don't you just leave? I mean, the cat might chase you, but if you can just run away from the... Oh yeah, that's right, they're talking about guns. You see how your analogy doesn't work, my friend? See, in the situation where you don't want to get clawed in the face by the cat, you can just avoid the cat. However, in the situation of the inanimate object, which is a gun, it doesn't matter if you avoid it or not, because it's all contingent upon the situation. If the gun is on the desk, it doesn't matter if you avoid it, because the gun can't be used to do anything. Now, if someone has the gun and they point it at you, well, now you're kind of, caught with only a couple of choices. You could try to run away, you could try to disarm the gun, or you can just get shot. I mean, you see how they don't really compare? They don't really make any sense. One is a tool which someone has to have the intent to use. And if someone has the intent to use the gun to help people, it's not a bad gun. If someone has the intent to use the gun to hurt people, it's still not a bad gun because it's a fucking object. It's not good or bad. It just exists. A cat, on the other hand, has its own mindset, its own things, its own instincts. It thinks for itself, at least in some capacity. So if you have a bad cat, you need to remove the cat from the population or you avoid the cat. You can do that. They're not the same thing, my friend. I feel like I'm going to be saying that a lot in this video. I'm sorry. Continue.
And they tell you maybe if you had your own cat, you'd feel better about it. And you say, I do have a cat. It's that cute cuddly one in my window. That's not the problem. The problem is these... God damn it! So as you can see, we have a cat problem. And all anyone wants is to put some rules in place to stop the excessive amount of awful cats on the street.
Yes, my friend, but help me to understand this. How do you make rule to stop bad cat from existing? How is it even possible to stop bad cat from being bad cat? I mean, did you actually think that one through, my friend? Because assuming a cat is an inanimate object, it's not, but let's just say it is. How do you stop a cat from being bad? What rule could you put to stop the cat from acting out? I cannot think of a single rule. And I've been sitting here for like the last 10 minutes. I don't know what you could do to prevent a cat from being bad. Then again, I've never owned a cat, so maybe that might be part of the problem here.
Instead, I'm looking out my window and seeing even bigger, scarier lions, tigers, cheetahs, and AR-15s.
Now, you know, this bothers me for a lot of reasons. One, I don't think there's anywhere in the United States where it's legal to have a lion or a tiger in your house as a domesticated animal. I'm pretty sure you could have them like in not zoos, obviously in zoos, but in like different ranches. I remember a couple years ago I volunteered at this place called the Caddy Shack, and it was like a rescued or endangered animal not exhibit, but like I guess reservation, for lack of a better word. I'm gonna use reservation, where they had tigers and lions and whatnot in cages, and they played with them and whatnot. So I mean, but here's the thing: it's not domesticated. Okay, they're not domesticated lions and tigers. I think maybe somewhere you can. I just don't think in the United States it's legal to have a domesticated tiger or a domesticated lion. I could be wrong here, but even if it is legal, even if it's something you can do, the vast majority of people will never, ever, 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 ever try to domesticate a motherfucking tiger. They're not the same thing. And yeah, sure, okay, obviously the equivalent that you're making is that these bigger cats are all a representation of bigger, more dangerous guns. And you obviously seem to have some sort of disdain for AR-15s. Now this is something that just makes like next to zero sense to me. There is like AR-15s have become a little bit of a meme for some of the liberal-minded people who don't think that regular civilians should have access to them. I just have to say, you guys do realize that AR-15s are not the only semi-automatic rifles that exist in the world, right? You do know that. And you do know that even if people don't have AR-15s, they can just get shotguns, right? I mean, a shotgun may not have the same amount of, you know, rounds shot, but it's still a shotgun. You guys do know that there are other types of forms and rifles that exist in the world. Why are you only picking on AR-15s? You have to be ignorant beyond ignorant to think that AR-15s are the only semi-automatic rifles that should be worried about or complained about. I don't get it. No one can be that dumb. No one can be that ignorant. You can't be that ignorant. You can't. Have you never played a Call of Duty game before in your life? I mean, it's not exactly real life, but just continue, man.
That's not the same as a regular cat. But my crazy cat lady neighbor wants you to think it's okay for everybody to own a cheetah. What? No. Would you stop it, Mrs. Draw? Really? And sure, there are people out there with the proper knowledge and training to understand the responsibilities of owning a cheetah. But when the cheetahs keep ending up in schools clawing kids in the face, I don't think the answer is to put more cheetahs in the school.
Wait a minute, hold on. What if a cheetah in the school is actually a good cheetah, an honorable cheetah, right? And this cheetah goes out to fight the bad cheetah. Like, I know, like, the reason why I'm laughing is because this is like literally the plot to like every action movie ever in the history of reality. But there is a reason why this trope of good versus evil exists. It's because it's a fundamental reality of not just storytelling, but our very lives itself. When someone does something bad, you need someone good in order to stop them. This is what the police force is for. This is what Knights of the Realm were for. This is what samurais were for. What ninjas were for. I know it all sounds like I'm just saying a bunch of crazy shit, but there's a point to it. And the point is, in order to stop evil, there must be someone good in order to counteract it. The reason why, I guess, well, I'm just going to assume it's the NRA. I don't think it is, but I'll just assume it is just for the sake of this video. The reason why the NRA wants people with guns, like law-abiding citizens with these powerful guns, is so when someone evil with a powerful gun comes, you can fight them back. Because you can't stop evil, unfortunately. We're only humans, man. Christianity has been trying to defeat this evil thing for the last 2,000 years. It's not working. It's not working, unfortunately. So the point is, when you have good people with swords and shields, and in this contemporary society, guns, they will defeat the bad people. That is what the hope is. Now I know some people, especially liberal-minded people, don't like the whole good guy with a gun thing. They don't like the story. They don't like this form of argumentation. Except here's the thing. These people live in La La Land. They live in La La Land. You need to go talk to Demi Lovato about what it means to be in La La Land, what the rules of La La Land are, but La La Land is not reality. And the reality is, when you disarm good people and you create an environment where people cannot defend themselves, it makes it really easy for that cheetah to go in and claw people. But if there is a lion protecting his pack of children, that cheetah's not going to run in there and attack them. And here's the hilarious thing about this. Here's the funny thing about this. This scenario of the lion literally protecting his pack, that's literally nature. That's literally just a fundamental reality of the world that happens. I'm literally not even making that up. It literally is what a big pride leader lion does. It's literally his role in a pack. Literally, go look it up and go Google it. I'm not, continue.
I don't think the best way to buy a cheetah is to walk into Petco and go, hey, I want a cheetah.
Where, in reality, have you ever seen anyone purchase a bloody cheetah from Petco?
Oh, okay, here you go. And I think we all can agree that it's impossible to get rid of all cats.
Well, I don't think so. I think it's pretty possible to get rid of all cats. I mean, you can just kill them. You can create a sexually transmitted disease and let the cats breed themselves into non-existence. And you could introduce a bigger predator that eats cats into a population. Your analogy doesn't work, I'm sorry.
Which is good, because there's tons of cute, cuddly ones. But let's make some rules that limit and prevent how many awful cats wind up on our street. Less awful cats means less people clawed in the face. Sure.
Let me ask you a question, my friend. What happens when those rules don't work and a bad cat just appears? Well, who's going to stop it? Hopefully you call animal control. I don't know why you haven't mentioned animal control in this entire video, but, yeah. Turns out there are already rules and regulations for these bad cats. And it turns out there's already situations and scenarios which people can deal with these bad cats.
They still might get attacked by a dog or abducted by aliens, but let's handle this one problem at a time. And while this won't solve all cat problems, there's a good chance it'll help with a lot. Like, they had a similar cat problem over on Australia Street, and after they put rules in place, good people still owned good cats, but no one has gotten clawed in the face in over 20 years.
Yeah, but this is stupid, okay? Because if we're going to play out your analogy the way it should be played, what actually happened in Australia was there was a mass shooting. And then what happened is the government decided to take all of the cats, killed a whole bunch of those cats after they bought those cats back. And then they put a bunch of different rules that say that you can't purchase specific types of cats, and if you do want this cat, you need a specific reason for it. That's if we played your analogy out all the way. I mean, it weren't just rules. A huge amount of cats were killed. Are you okay with cat death, my friend? Are you okay with killing 700,000 cats? Because I'm not okay with that. Wrap us up.
All the teenagers on my street that are fed up with that cat lady, I'm really proud of you for being so brave. So I hope that explains to you the problem we're having with guns. Now,
No, not at all, actually. If anything, it just kind of made the situation a lot more confusing and less understanding than what it was before, considering just how weak and flimsy your analogy is.
I have a feeling that the comments on this video are gonna get a little out of hand. If you see that, could you help me out? Direct the conversation back to what laws can we put in place to get less guns in the hands of wrong people.
It's a bit ironic that you make this entire video talking about how we need rules and regulations, and you yourself actually don't have any rules or regulations that will prevent bad people from getting guns. The only thing that could really prevent bad people from getting guns is preventing bad people themselves. Which means maybe we should try to fix society so there are a lot less crazy people who want to shoot up individuals rather than trying to solve the symptom, which is people are using guns to do that. Because I guarantee you, even if we got rid of all the guns here in America, people are probably just going to grab a bunch of knives and just start stabbing people. Or choking people. One or the other. I mean, you grab a bow and arrow and just fucking Legolas people, man. Just... you know what I mean? I actually remember watching a movie called We Need to Talk About Kevin, I think. I think it was called We Need to Talk About Kevin. Where that's literally what happened. It's not even a joke, by the way. But that was a movie, so yeah. I'm going to stop the video here because there's nothing left to be said on his part. But I'm going to end the video off with this. For some reason, lots of people love to talk about these gun regulations and these gun bans or these gun buybacks always after there's been a mass shooting, but there's not really much talk when it's just a regular person, just some regular street violence, you know, where people are getting shot and killed. Truth of the matter is, my friends, you're never going to solve the ultimate issue of people killing people by removing guns. Alright, fine. People will not kill people with guns because they will not have guns. Obviously so. You cannot fall off a bridge if you never walk on a bridge. Mind blown. Wow. Who would have thought by not having the thing you would remove the thing from killing people? Wow, just ironclad logic. Listen, here's the thing. The problem is evil in the world. It is not the tool. It has never been the tool. And it will never be the tool. If people will not kill individuals with guns, they will go to the mall and they will buy a katana and then they will go Rurouni Kenshin their asses in a public school and slash down everyone. Okay? That's probably really unrealistic, but the truth of the matter is, if an individual wants to kill a bunch of people, they're going to do it. They just are. And the thing is, instead of trying to solve the problem of tools, you need to solve the problem of people. You need to start creating healthy people. That means good, stable family units. It means women picking reasonable men to date. Men picking reasonable women to be with and mother their children. People treating each other better. People being kind. People being reasonable with one another. You have to deal with evil in the world. And I don't see anyone dealing with evil in the world. So instead, they just want to put a band-aid over it and say, hey, let's remove guns and there's no more gun violence. Okay, fine. Yes, there will be no more gun violence. But you will not solve the underlying problem. And that is human beings have a capacity for evil. You have to defeat evil. You will not stop people from wanting to be murderers because they don't have the tools to do so. They will just find another way to do it. So with that being said, man, I sure hope you guys enjoyed today's video. And if you did, man, go and click the like button. And should go and click that subscribe button. Comment in the comment box below. And as always, you guys have yourselves a great day. I'll see you cool cats soon. Adios.